Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are back, y'all. We are back to talk about this P. Diddy trial. Again, y'all, this stuff is wild. This stuff is so wild. So basically, what you telling me, Cassie, is both you and P. Diddy were drug addicts. And we find out that P. Diddy OD'd in some hotel. And I know they keep calling Cassie P. Diddy's girlfriend, but at this point, y'all, at this point, that's being generous. That's being generous. Um, what was this relationship? Was it love? I don't think it was. Because I don't know how you could love a woman and you could pass her around the way Diddy did. Y'all, I never knew this. I never knew this. I never knew that Diddy was passing around Cassie like this for 10 years. 10 years. Anyway, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about more bombshell confessions by Cassie. Now I can see why Cassie stayed quiet all these years, because she might say that she was scared to leave. I believe her. He was violent. He was abusive. But she had to be very, very embarrassed. Very, very, very embarrassed about this lifestyle. Because even if he was forcing her or she was scared, um, this is kind of horrific, y'all. This is like, is it like sex slave? Not really, because she got paid. I know they're trying to get P. Diddy on trafficking. I guess they're going to build that case later of when trafficking, which is human trafficking, right? Isn't that what they're trying to get him on? Um, I don't know if so far this ain't it. This ain't it so far. I guess they're going to build the case even more and more and more and more because he can be guilty of a lot of things, but I haven't quite heard yet. And like I said, I don't hear everything. I haven't quite heard the case for human trafficking. Unless we just say that because you hire a bunch of strippers to come in town and you abused Cassie, which he did, he passed her around by a lot of men. A lot of men. Woo! Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But we're going to come back. Let me play my intro video, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it. So Cassie says, there was a version of him that the public didn't know about, and that was the lovable part, I guess, and that's the part she said yes to. So supposedly they were together for around 11 years from 2007, but like I said, I think I can't really call her his girlfriend. I don't think I can anymore. She was something to him. She was something, but I'm not going to call her girlfriend. Girlfriend actually sounds too lovingly. It's almost too sweet like. That's not what this relationship was. This was not, they might have said they loved each other, but I don't feel like he treated her like a girlfriend or like he treated Kim Porter. Cuz I don't remember him passing around Kim Porter. Because otherwise, I'd be like, is this what Diddy did? Is he passed around his girlfriends? Did he pass around what was the other rapper he dated, Miami or something like that? What the girl name is? Did he pass her around? Why did he pass Cassie around like this? He said that he called her baby girl. That was the nickname that she called him. And we heard a lot more about the freak offs and Diddy paying male escorts. Then they started showing sexually explicit messages between the two of them. And then I guess they were trying to paint a scenario that it was love. Like Cassie was really going along with this, like, oh, I can't wait. She's all excited and horny. She's writing all these things about the freak off. And I guess they're trying to say, well, girl, if you was really abused and you was being held hostage and you was against your will, why why send all these extra messages talking about love and you can't wait and horny? I guess she's just trying to say that she was faking it to making it. I don't know. But she did say she felt grimy and dirty. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, these stories are being passed around at these freak offs. I'm telling y'all, it was like a constant in and out door of different men. And what I hear, Diddy didn't like her to use a condom. I've heard all kind of stories that she has sores in her mouth, that her vagina was so sore um, from all of this activity, and that she would be in constant pain, and she had to take drugs to cover up the pain from all the sex. And I guess she's sticking to the story. She did all of this because she's afraid and because she wanted to please him. And I'm telling you, this mental abuse, to have you stuck in this type of mental torment, would you consider her his girlfriend? I mean, I just can't, y'all. I can't really consider her his girlfriend. One was because, I mean, she went out with other people. From what they were telling me afterwards, she started a relationship with Michael B. Jordan too. I never knew Cassie went out with Michael B. Jordan. This tells you how much I follow these stories. She went out with Kid Cudi, the rapper. I wonder if Michael B. Jordan and this rapper fella knew that Cassie was passed around like this. She is a beautiful girl. She is. But I wonder, you always hear about these men talking about body counts, body counts, body counts. Well, I mean, what is Cassie's body count? And you mean to tell me Cassie's body count was high, but she was still went out with Michael B. Jordan? Did they know? Did they know? I know we talked about these Diddy freak offs, but did everybody know that Cassie, this is what Cassie was to Diddy? She was like some type of sex mule. Um, that one time they were saying that there was a rumor going around that they had tainted the baby oil with some type of drug. But Cassie denied that. She says that was never true. And she was the party planner. She was the one who ordered all the baby oil. So I guess she would know. She would say, nope, we never lubricated the baby oil with whatever that GHP was. This is horrible, y'all. Really, really horrible. What else went on? She says that night at the hotel when, she got attacked by Diddy and he was dragging her. They had been doing drugs that day too. And that they had been taking MDMA or ecstasy. She can't remember, I guess. And supposedly they were trying to say that the reason why P. Diddy was acting a fool was because he had gotten some bad ecstasy or MDMA. And Cassie said, yeah, you get sick off that stuff. You take that stuff, you get sick. But Cassie didn't confirm that it was bad MDA because they were trying to pretend like that's why he was acting crazy, because he was like on a bad drug trip. But Cassie's trying to tell them, no, he's like this anyway, whether he on a good batch or a bad batch. It doesn't matter. So I guess that whole dragging and slapping incident at the hotel happened because it was during a sex freak off at a hotel room. Once again, it was Miss Ventura having sex with another person and she didn't want to do it. She wanted to leave. And I guess that's what caused the rage of P. Diddy. And he really started acting a fool. And they started talking about some messages beforehand where he was texting her talking about how sexy she looked today. And I guess kind of buttering her up for this freak off that was gonna happen. And then they exposed some message that Cassie sent talking about, baby, I want to freak off so bad, but I don't want to F myself up. So basically she's saying she's down for the freak off. She really want to get the freak on so bad, but she don't want to F herself up. Um, and she said she didn't want him to think she didn't want to take part in it after he had asked her over and over again. So this is what she's saying. I guess she's making up a lie. So her story is Diddy's pressuring her over and over again to have a freak off. And so when she texts back, oh yeah, baby, I really want to do it, but I don't want to F myself up. Is this like when your husband want to have sex with you, you go, baby, I got a headache. I got a headache, but Diddy wasn't taking no headache. He was like, you ain't ready. And I guess he went off even more. She said the only reason she was about to participate in this freak off one more time was because she was trying to keep him calm because she had a film premiere coming up. I don't even remember what film she was in. So she says basically she was sending loving messages just to sort of keep him calm and seem supportive. But then I guess they were going to go to this premiere and they were going to walk the red carpet or some type of promotional lunch or something. They were reading more text about how Diddy was also trying to tell her that he didn't want to get too high because he knew they were going to have to go out in public. You know, there was a lot of conversation about this stuff. Y'all, this is crazy. This is really crazy. But she vehemently denied that the baby oil was spiked with this GHB. And she said, "No, we didn't do any of that kind of stuff. That's nothing that they did." But I guess they're trying to paint her as a willing participant, and that she was just as much into this freaky lifestyle as he was. That she wasn't coerced. She obviously was allowed to have relationships with other people because she did. She talks about how Diddy one time overdosed with opiates at the Playboy Mansion. So they were both drug addicts, very much drug addicts. And then she even admitted that there were a couple of times when he was concerned about her own drug use and he could see that she was suffering from too much drug use. And he told her that, he was concerned for her mental health. We heard also that at one time he had heard that she was doing drugs outside of doing them with him because I guess he was thinking she only did drugs when they were together and having sex. But then he found out that she was actually getting drugs from the drug dealer outside of him. And he actually went to all the drug dealers and said, stop selling to her. It's interesting because they keep bringing up things with P. Diddy that, you've heard out here in the streets. And there was one incident where it was alleged that P. Diddy hung one of Cassie's girlfriend over in a balcony, almost like as if he was going to drop her and kill her. And they were trying to get Cassie to admit that she saw it. And she basically said, no, I never knew anything about this. I didn't know anything about this. But she said she learned about it after the fact. She didn't see it, she didn't witness it, but she said she learned about it after the fact. I guess the lady's name was Brianna Bongolan. She was the one that filed a lawsuit against Diddy in November of last year, alleging he dangled her over the railing of a 17th floor balcony. And this was at Cassie's condo in LA, probably on Wilshire, because those are high rise condos, very, very high. A lot of the stars live over there. Serena Williams used to have a apartment over there too, a condo over there. Serena and Venus both did. A lot of people live in those condos. They're very expensive. But it's interesting. I guess a lot of people knew about their drug habit because even Diddy spoke to Cassie's parents about their problems, supposedly. And the parents wanted both of them to go to some type of drug counseling. And Cassie admits, or I guess that even she was present for some of the meetings that Diddy had with her parents. I was wondering where Cassie's parents were. Where was her family during these 11 years of her being abused? Did they try to get her out of this, but she just didn't listen to them and didn't want to come home? Because I was thinking that she was afraid to tell anyone about what was going on because she was so afraid that, he would do something to her. But now we're finding out that the parents were fully aware already of what was going on. Maybe not the extent of it, but they were aware of the drug problems. So now I'm thinking, I don't know, they kind of already knew. Diddy's telling them about it, you telling them about it. Of course, I'm sure you're not talking about the freak offs part, but I mean, you guys are doing sex, drugs, and alcohol. She said they did at one time talk with each other about getting off drugs, but the option of going to rehab was never anything they talked about. And she said they experimented with different drugs. And she said that she even admitted that Combs tried to get her off of drugs around in 2016. And like I said, when he found out she had been taking drugs with other people and not with him, he became really explosive and violent, and he ended up telling all the drug dealers in LA to stop selling to her. I mean, this kind of reminds me of the Bobby Whitney story, right? I mean, isn't that the story with Bobby and Whitney that Whitney, I mean, Whitney was already into drugs. You end up finding that later on, but I believe Whitney started doing it even outside of Bobby. It started getting really bad. It's almost like I started doing drugs with you, but then I need to do drugs more often. So I'm doing them even behind your back. You find out I'm doing way more than you thought I was doing. One of them kind of stories. So I guess at one time, I guess you say they broke up. Is it really a breakup? Like I said, I don't even know if I can give Cassie the girlfriend title. I really can't. I don't know if I can, y'all. I don't know if I can. But whatever it was, they broke up or whatever, and she started seeing Michael B. Jordan. I didn't know that. I Any woman sleeping with Michael B. Jordan, just know that you also sleeping with Cassie, who slept with a whole lot of men. I, I wouldn't sleep with Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan would have to get a test. Michael B. Jordan would have to get a test for me to sleep with him. Now that you know he was sleeping with Cassie, mm-mm, absolutely not. I don't care how fine he is. He'd have to come fine with a test. So I guess they both would get jealous over who they were going out with, and then she started going out with Kid Cudi. And I guess once, P. Diddy found about that, they call it an affair. Once again, it's an affair as if they were exclusive, but they weren't even exclusive. So is it an affair if you're not exclusive? If I'm being passed around and you passing the girl around, are you really exclusive? I don't think so. But whenever Diddy found out about that, he attacked her again. And next thing you know, she traveled back to her parents' home in Connecticut. So here we go again. Here we go again. So I'm under the impression that what was going on with Cassie was a big, big secret. And she was afraid to let the secret out because if the secret got out, he would beat on her more. But now we're finding out that the secret was already out. Her parents knew about it because here she's saying that at one time when he beat her, she went back to her parents' house to stay with them for a while. So they had to have known that she was being beat on by Sean Diddy Combs. And so I guess they would go back and forth about calling each other cheaters. She would call him a cheater, and he would bring up the fact of, she cheated on with Michael B. Jordan and Kid Cudi. I don't know. This is just a mess, y'all. However they're defining these relationships, it's not really a relationship. This is almost like some type of abuse plus codependency. I don't know. This is insane. Insane. They started asking her timelines about something. And then they asked them about, well, what about, the holiday season? They were trying to say that there was some conversation where Combs would always bring up the fact that she slept with the rapper. And that this was brought up every holiday season because it would rub Diddy the wrong way. But then Cassie admits, no, I don't ever remember that happening because they never spent holidays together. So if you don't spend holidays with the man, you are not the girlfriend. You're not the girlfriend. That's why I'm really objecting. Like, I object. I object now to them calling Cassie a girlfriend because honestly, y'all, there is nothing about their relationship that screams girlfriend. And her saying that they never spend holidays together tells me she's not the girlfriend. So this is interesting because so when she talks about how she met Kid Cudi, it was because Combs put the two of them together because he thought collaborating with him might help her music career. But what's so interesting, you're starting to find out that every time P. Diddy Combs hooked up Cassie with a business arrangement with another man, she ended up sleeping with that man. This is what's so weird. I mean, folks are even telling me, which I didn't know the whole history, that the man that she's married with now was a personal trainer or something that Combs kind of hooked her up with for personal trainer. And now she's actually married to him. So you're finding out that Sean would, Diddy, you're finding out that P. Diddy would not only bring men into Cassie's life to sleep with her, but then when he did bring men into her life to so-called help her with her career, her music, her acting, or whatever else, Cassie somehow ended up being sexually involved with that man. And then because P. Diddy didn't really put them together, it wasn't like it was one of his freak offs, he would be mad about it. Um, this is weird. I don't know what this is, y'all. One part, yeah, you're abused, you're a sex slave, whatever else. Then there's this other part where you still go off and you have sex with whoever you want to, and then he's mad. I don't know how you define this, but I'm gonna tell you what I don't define it in is girlfriend and boyfriend. Absolutely not. She said she had a burner phone to be able to hide the other relationship. So she would have a burner phone with the rapper. But P. Diddy found out, and when P. Diddy found out, he had a big fit. Now here's what I don't get. If if Cassie is P. Diddy's girlfriend, everybody knows it in the industry, even this rapper, everyone knows it. So you're telling me that this rapper was trying to steal Cassie from P. Diddy because he knew Cassie was with P. Diddy? I don't believe it. I think everyone knew in the industry that Cassie really was not really P. Diddy's girlfriend, that he sort of passed her around. That's what I believe. They started talking about P. Diddy's family, and it said that Cassie was upset that um, P. Diddy really didn't let her spend a lot of time with his children, and that Cassie was jealous of that. And she said, yeah, she was, because once again, she's not the girlfriend. She really isn't the girlfriend. She said it was true that she wanted to be really a part of his family and not just some sexual fantasy. And then when P. Diddy would go off and, form relationships with other women, she was jealous of that too. And she admitted she was concerned she wasn't the main girl, she was a side piece. And that's kind of what I'm getting to. I'm getting to the fact that um, Cassie, as much as I used to see in the news that they were girlfriend and boyfriend, that's what I thought too, honestly, all this time. Now as I hear her describe their relationship and what she's saying, she was never even a girlfriend. And I think it was pretty well known in the industry that he passed her around. This is sad. This is really sad. And she admitted that back then she was a really insanely jealous person. So here you got a person who's saying that she just wanted to please him. That's why she did all these sex acts for 10 years. But then on the other hand, you hear that she was jealous. So it sounds like she was abused on one end, but then she was also jealous if he formed relationships with other women because she wanted to be the main girl, not the side girl. But the role she was in was full of abuse and freak offs. And how do you heal from this, y'all? This many years of this type of mentality, how do you heal from this? I mean, you start getting to this thing about the death of Kim Porter, the fact that everyone has always thought that was suspicious because she died of pneumonia. She had 3 children, plus he adopted um, one of her sons, Quincy. And Cassie admits that she was jealous of him. And Cassie said the way she found out about the relationship was through social media. So she was really mad and really jealous. And what she realized was, he didn't try to have Kim Porter in these freak offs. He wasn't doing that with her. And they tried to throw some old text up in front of her face talking about how she was right and how she loved the freak offs. And she's saying those were just words at that point. She really didn't mean it. Even though she was writing in the text, I want to freak off right now. I want to freak off. And Cassie would be like, yeah, me too. I want to have fun with you. And then he said, well, if you're not into it, no worries, no problem. But she was like, I love you. And I guess it was some weird name she had for him, like Pop Pop. I guess because supposedly I heard the story was he made her call him Pop Pop because that's what she called her grandfather. I guess because he's how many years older than her? 15 or something. It's all just so weird, y'all. But I'm coming to a new conclusion. I'm no longer gonna call Cassie P. Diddy's girlfriend. It's pretty clear that's not what this was. They were not in a girlfriend boyfriend relationship. This was some type of, yeah, definitely was some mental abuse, but It was definitely some type of weird codependent relationship. Um, but none of it was based on love. None of it. Not one bit of it. Sorry. I'm not there. I'm just not there. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got, y'all. We'll catch up next time. Bye.